The film opens with an elderly woman being cared for by a seemingly kind nurse named Gwen. The patient is struggling to breathe and asks for more oxygen. Shockingly, Gwen turns off the supply and squeezes the tube, cutting off her air. As a result, the woman flatlines. Gwen quickly calls a code blue, pretending to panic. While the doctor tries to revive the patient, Gwen stands by the door, eerily smiling. Luckily, the doctor manages to save the woman's life. Gwen, appearing pleased with her actions, walks away calmly. The scene shifts to a peaceful home where Mira is making breakfast for her husband Todd. Their son Max, who suffers from muscular dystrophy and uses crutches, joins them. Mira is concerned since Max often uses the stairs alone, but Todd reassures her it's nothing serious. Gwen, the same nurse, now works at their house to care for Max. During breakfast, Max drops his crutch. Gwen helps but secretly loosens it so Max may fall later. Todd leaves for work, and Gwen watches Mira and Todd's loving goodbye with jealousy. Mira's friend Karen visits and they chat while Max and Gwen play outside. Mira admits she feels like Todd and Max are closer to Gwen than her. Gwen, listening secretly, is clearly pleased. Karen suggests replacing Gwen, but Mira refuses, believing Gwen is doing a good job. Suddenly, they hear Max scream, "He's fallen." Mira blames Gwen, but Max insists the crutch broke by accident. Mira contacts Dr. Keller to check Max and get new crutches. That evening, Mira apologizes to Gwen, who acts understanding and makes her calming tea. The next day, Mira attends a support group for muscular dystrophy parents and shares Max's story. She recalls how he once slipped from a slide, which first showed signs of his condition. Mira gets emotional remembering his recent fall. When she returns home, Gwen suddenly appears and offers more tea. As Mira naps on the couch, Dr. Keller arrives with new crutches for Max. But Gwen prevents her from seeing him. While leaving, the doctor feels Gwen looks familiar but can't recall where they've met. She tells Gwen she'll let her know if she remembers. That evening, Gwen pays a visit to Dr. Keller at her home. She tells her that she remembers her from their time at the hospital. As soon as she steps inside, Gwen injects something into Dr. Keller, revealing that they used to work together and had once treated the same patient, the one Gwen tried to kill at the start of the film. Gwen confesses that she sees Dr. Keller as a threat to her family and plans to eliminate her. Her obsession with family bonds seems to drive her twisted behavior. The injection contains a high dose of drugs that knocks Dr. Keller unconscious. Later that night, Mira receives a call from a man named David, who claims to be part of the support group she recently joined. He says his son Carter also has muscular dystrophy. While talking, he shares a blurry photo of himself and says he lost his wife, and now a nurse helps care for Carter. Mira feels comforted, thinking she made the right decision in hiring a live-in nurse. But what she doesn't know is that David is actually Gwen, using voice software to fake the call. The next morning, Karen stops by while Mira and her family are having breakfast. She accidentally spills a drink on Todd's shirt. Gwen, who clearly has feelings for Todd, offers to clean it and takes the shirt to the laundry room. As Karen passes by, she catches Gwen smelling Todd's clothes, leaving her visibly uncomfortable. That night, Gwen, as David, calls Mira again, checking in on her and Mira says she's been feeling unwell. David suggests the nurse should examine her, and moments later, Gwen enters Mira's room and accuses her of cheating on Todd. She even tries to plant doubts in Todd's mind, claiming Mira just spoke to a man on the phone. Todd, however, trusts Mira and believes she's just tired and overworked. Gwen then wishes him good night and hugs him. The next morning, while Mira is still asleep, Gwen and Todd are in the kitchen. Gwen clearly tries to spend more time around him. She even attempts to get close to him physically, but Mira walks in just in time. Gwen has also taken over all the chores, including breakfast, making it seem like she's the perfect helper. Todd becomes worried about Mira, who's been sleeping on the couch a lot. Then Karen calls to thank her for sending birthday flowers, but Mira has no memory of doing so. Concerned, Karen urges her to see a doctor. It turns out Gwen sent the flowers herself and implies that Mira's memory might be slipping. Suddenly, Mira faints. She tells Gwen she wants to visit a doctor and begs her not to tell Todd. Gwen agrees but offers to take a blood sample instead, saying she'll send it to the lab. That night, Mira confides in David again about the strange things happening at home. Soon after, Todd and Max return. Mira tries to help Max to his room, but her vision becomes blurry, and she promises to follow him shortly. As Mira is about to fall asleep on the sofa, she receives a message from an unknown sender warning her that David is a fraud. The next morning, Todd tries waking her and accidentally sees the message on her phone. Even Max is puzzled, wondering why his mom has been sleeping so much lately. Mira then apologizes to Gwen for misjudging her, especially since Gwen has been working tirelessly around the house. Gwen, on the other hand, is glad she's finally being treated like part of the family. Soon after, Mira gets another message from David but replies, asking him to stop contacting her. She pushes herself to go to work that day. At the office, she tells Karen that her lab results came back fine and that Gwen was probably right, she just needed rest. But Karen urges her to get a second opinion from a doctor not connected to Gwen, though Mira brushes it off. Later, Mira receives an email from Gwen, still posing as David. In it, he warns her that someone named Weber is spreading lies about him. Then, a follow-up message alarms Mira by saying her child might be in danger and asks her to meet at a cafe. Back home, Todd overhears Mira discussing the meeting with Gwen. Misunderstanding the situation, he believes Mira is hiding something and begins to suspect infidelity. The next day, Mira arrives at the cafe to meet David, only to discover the real David Weber. He reveals he has no children and has never spoken to her. He shares that his wife, Laurel, died of lung cancer, and someone had convinced her to stop treatment, just like what Mira is now experiencing. David even shows her photos, one of himself and one of the fake child she was sent. Mira is shocked, but still doesn't realize Gwen is behind it all. Meanwhile, Todd, who has been secretly following her, sees Mira hugging David and misunderstands the moment. Back at the house, Karen drops by to give Mira a newly designed handbag. But she's really there to confront Gwen. Karen reveals she once caught Gwen sniffing Todd's shirt and warns her to stay away from the family, or she'll make Gwen regret it. As Karen prepares to leave, Gwen hits her from behind. Gwen then drags Karen to a remote location, injects her with something, and leaves her unconscious in her own car. That evening, while Mira cooks dinner, she receives a message from David saying he'll be home late. Max and Gwen return from his therapy session. Gwen then quietly takes a kitchen knife and claims she's heading out to meet an old friend. But she actually goes to David's house, thanks to the information Mira unknowingly gave her. It's revealed Gwen was once Laurel's nurse, and she's the one who convinced her to abandon medical treatment. Gwen stabs David to death and pours his blood beside the body to stage the scene. She takes his bag and leaves. Later that night, Todd comes home drunk, emotionally drained by everything that's been happening. Gwen seizes the moment and tries to seduce him. But despite everything, Todd stays loyal to Mira and tells Gwen to leave his room. The next morning, Gwen cheerfully greets Todd and jokingly claims that he was the one who flirted with her the night before. Meanwhile, Mira, who has just woken up, checks her phone and sees a message from David. He says he couldn't sleep because his little guy was restless all night. At the same time, Mira notices the same phrase, little guy, written on Max's water bottle, in Gwen's handwriting. That phrase triggers something in Mira's memory. She recalls that both Gwen and David always referred to Max by that exact nickname. Suspicion begins to grow. Without hesitation, Mira pours out the water Gwen had prepared for Max, and to her horror, she sees traces of powdered medication inside the bottle. Alarmed, she sneaks into Gwen's room and finds a medical book discussing how certain toxins are used in treatments. Digging further, she discovers multiple pills hidden beneath the bed. Suddenly, Mira hears the front door open. Gwen is back, and Max is with her. But Gwen, playing innocent, brings her a drink and encourages her to rest. Gwen then says she is taking Max for physical therapy. Mira suggests they skip the session, but Max insists on going. There's a football game at the clinic today. After they leave, Mira quickly sneaks back into Gwen's room and records video evidence of all the suspicious things she's found. She begins packing, ready to leave the house, and calls Todd to tell him everything. She says she has proof and plans to go to the police. But just then, Gwen unexpectedly returns. Her calm demeanor is gone. She clearly knows Mira has uncovered the truth. When Mira frantically asks where Max is, Gwen says she'll take her to him. On the way, Gwen begins confessing. She claims all she ever wanted was to be part of a loving family, like Mira's. She says none of the families she worked for ever treated her like their own, so she decided to take what she could never have, by removing Mira from the picture. At the same time, Todd arrives home, only to find Mira's phone. He checks it and watches the video she recorded, now fully aware of Gwen's deception. Meanwhile, Gwen brings Mira to a secluded house and confesses more. She was responsible for the deaths of Dr. Keller, Karen, and even David, people she believed threatened her fantasy of a perfect family. Mira panics and tries to find Max, only to realize Gwen had lied. He's not there. Gwen reveals one more twisted detail. The knife used to kill David has Mira's fingerprints on it, since Mira had used it last. And the blood found at the crime scene. It's Mira's too, taken from her under the pretense of a medical test. Gwen has framed her completely. Realizing she's been set up, Mira tries to escape. Gwen blocks her, and the two engage in a brutal fight. Mira manages to knock Gwen unconscious with a teapot and flees in her car. The film ends rather abruptly, showing Mira, Todd, and Max finally reunited as a family. But what became of Gwen? That's left a mystery.